Welcome, everyone, to the Facing Forward podcast. For those of you just joining us, my name is Andrew Archambault, and I work with Dynamic AI Solutions to help businesses in the trades optimize, modernize, and stay competitive as we watch AI change the way we work day to day. So, if you're a business owner and interested in how AI can plug into your business, help you guys scale more efficiently, or just cut down on your hours in the office, feel free to drop the word growth in the comment and I'll reach out. I can schedule a free sit down just to map out the opportunity for you. Otherwise, if you're a business owner, someone in the trades looking to start your own business, make sure you stick around to the end of this one because today's guest has one of the best origin stories that we've had on the show. Today we have on Anthony Richardson, the founder and president of Secure It Securities Corporation out of Rockland County, New York. Anthony started his career running cable and phone lines in New York City and worked his way up through some of the largest security companies in the country. He had the skills, he had the experience, and by every measure, he was good at what he did. And then something happened that made him rethink what he was doing and launch Secure It. And I'm going to let him share that story a little more in depth. But today, Secure It is a full-service fire alarm and life safety company serving residential, commercial, and government clients across New York with certified technicians and contracts with MTA train stations, access control systems with over 20,000 users. Anthony also hosts his own podcast, The Fire Alarm Insider, and created the Fire Alarm Business Blueprint, which is a 9-step program designed to help technicians and aspiring entrepreneurs launch and grow their own fire alarm businesses from the ground up. So, Anthony, thank you very much for being on with us today.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much for having me, Andrew. That was warming. That was pretty good.
No problem. I'm glad. So, the first question I have for you today is when did you first get into the fire alarm and security industry and what made you want to jump in the first place?
Now, first, this was in 1998, which I know
Wow.
they're gonna hear 1990. But it actually happened after I got out the military. I was working with a company called RCN, and
Okay.
at that particular time, they were in Manhattan, New York, competing with um, it was Time Warner, I believe, Time Warner and Verizon at the same time, because when RCN came out, they was providing cable,
Mm,
telephone, and also internet. So I'm working in a building on 43rd Street, and I see a guy working on a camera. So I stopped him and asked him what was he doing, how did he do it, and that right there what gave me, my mind to start moving. And then
mm.
from there, I just found a job soon after doing fire alarm with a company called Fire Quench.
Wow. That's awesome. So you came up through some pretty serious companies. What were the hardest parts of those early years as a tech, and what did that path teach you?
Well, this is like a new language. I didn't know anything about electrical theory, rather it be AC or DC voltage, capacitors, resistors, the different types of cables that they have for the particular circuits. It's a whole new world that I had to learn. The information, the technology, the names, the everything. So that was the struggle. It took me a very long time for the light bulb to click and say, I understand it.
Yeah. How long did you spend as an employee before going out on your own?
Oh, I was an employee for 2 decades. I left the field in 2017. So from like 19 I want to say like 1999 to like 2017, I was a local three technician, just working with a lot of different big companies out there.
What was that moment where like something shifted and you just decided to make something yourself and build your own company?
Well, it was several factors. You excuse me, you're working. From my perspective, I was a technician who uh I didn't complain. It didn't matter if it was 4 o'clock. You called me. Yes, I'm gonna stay. I'll do it because I always clocked overtime and I made money from overtime. But I was well versed, not just fire alarm, but also in the security aspect of it. And I just felt the compensation just wasn't equaling out. I
Mm,
was two technicians in one, where
mm.
you have to hire security tech and then sometimes hire fire tech, where you could just have me to do both. But the money just didn't add up. So I just decided to jump on my own.
Wow, that's incredible. So you also went to Full Sail University for audio engineering. How does
Hmm.
that background end up intersecting like with the fire alarm and life safety work?
Well, uh, I would say in my life growing up, music, rap music, hip hop, that's my passion. That's in me. But when it come to me trying to structure a business, I went in that direction because anything that I do, I don't care if it's McDonald's, I need to have the paperwork behind me to let me and myself know that I am, I would say, at least certified, or I have the knowledge,
Mm,
or I'm knowledgeable within this particular subject. But
mm,
then as I started going through the program, I started thinking, wow, I'm also a technician. I could actually build out studios, sound
mm.
studios for other producers, maybe other engineers, maybe show them what type of equipment they could use, set the studio up. And I was just going in that particular direction. So I would say if worst come to worst, I could still find something to do with my life.
Yep. Perfect. So early on in like launching your own company, what mistakes or successes did you make early on that taught you the biggest lessons?
There's a lot of mistakes. Well, most entrepreneurs, we all make mistakes when it comes to money, right? But
Yeah.
I want to say this to not to sound cliche, but you have to take your technical mind and transfer it to a business mind. Once I
Mm,
read this book, The E Myth by Michael Gerber,
yep.
that started to transform how I actually started to operate the business because
Mm,
we fail at money and we fail at letting our kids go. Sometimes
mm.
it's hard to let someone else do the work that we think we're the only ones that could actually do.
Yep.
But you have to learn to let go. And in the beginning, it's in the beginning you kind of hold on a little tighter,
Mm,
but you have to try to let go and figure out ways to work on the business and rather working in the business.
mm. What were some of those things that you started doing or implementing that kind of enabled you to make that shift to
So
business
some of the
owner?
things, it was I knew I had to automate some things. In the beginning, I didn't understand what I had to automate. Excuse me. So I'm using tools like Zoho. So I was like, I'll start with automating my marketing. Let's say if I have to schedule 30 posts at a particular month, I'll automate that. And then the next step after that will be leads. And then the next step after that would be invoicing. But now until up until now, we have systems for pretty much anything. A technician can come in and go through a series of videos and training that we have within the business, and he could just go after a
Mm,
week and he could just go. But
wow.
before then, it was pretty much me building all this stuff out.
Hmm. That's incredible. So what would you say is the biggest difference between running the business today versus when you first launched in 2017?
Ah, shit. Excuse me. I have I have a lot more freedom. I
Okay.
have a lot more freedom because I want to say that I learned how to do something, and now I have a project manager and a salesman repeating the processes that I was doing each and every day. And
Mm,
then it's pretty much just me and a technician in the field, unless I have to go and, do programming or something a little bit more complex. I'm usually here in the office trying to figure out how I could, get better at marketing.
mm. Yeah. As far as I think some things I hear from business owners who have kind of made that shift, do you miss being in the field?
I did. I did, but I did because it was so easy. But then at the point where I guess with all right, let me just back up a little bit. I want to say yes, I loved it when I was working for someone because it felt that I had to prove something that I was better than these guys who you say is good. I'm
Mm,
actually better and I could do it faster and I could do it with a lot more poise than whoever else there was. But then after I started the business, I didn't feel the need to prove to anyone no more. So I
mm,
rather teach, and then now my passion really became into actually teaching people how to do it, or rather technicians like that.
mm. Love it. Um, so as the owner, what would you say is one task that consistently pulls you away from focusing on growing the company further?
Just trying to keep my name in front of everyone because
Mm,
if I could at least do that, then I could at least sell some stuff off the website. I could at least probably get a service call or a maintenance contract or something like that because we get a lot of projects, but our projects are extended. So it's not like I can get 100,000 this month, 100,000 the next month. I'll get a couple 100,000, but I won't see probably another couple 100,000 for about a couple of months, maybe
okay.
until after that project go out. So in between time, we have to do camera jobs, we have
Yep.
to do burglar alarm installations, we have to do monitoring. So we're trying to find those
Mm.
things to keep us floating.
So it sounds like your emphasis is a lot on kind of the B2B, the commercial side of things, and use the residential to keep things running in the slow times.
Right, because that gives me my RMR, right? So I have to know where I'm weak at. I can't being as me and another guy, and yes, I can hire electricians, but I try to limit the amount of installs that I actually do
Hmm.
because that takes up too much time. So yes, I try to focus on the RMR. I build up the monitoring, rather be for fire alarm contracts, burglar alarm contracts, commercial and residential, and also some camera systems. So yes, I do that to keep the monthly money coming in.
Hmm. Absolutely. So, what would you say are the biggest operational headaches running a fire alarm and security business in New York right now?
Competing with all the other larger fire alarm companies,
Hmm.
it's not easy as a small fire alarm company, even as an maybe an electrical contractor probably be a lot more easier because they're the ones who actually have to do the work and you need them for the paperwork and their stamp. But
Hmm.
to compete with a lot of these other fire alarm companies, there's a lot of union work in the city.
Hmm.
So if it's union work, they're going to
Yep.
deal with union companies. We've done union projects, but you have to be awarded with that through another contractor. So it is a little difficult playing in that game as if you're looking for install. So that's why we had to fall back, look at other avenues and how we could get money so that way we could still compete with the larger companies.
Hmm. And why have you kind of decided to stay non-union as a company?
No,
Uh,
I no. Well, I'm not gonna go full blown union until I'm able to afford it, right? So if you do a
fair.
union project, you got to have at least 3 months of payroll up front, right? So a lot of
Okay.
these guys is getting paid over $100 an hour. So if you don't have at least 3 months of cash that could support this project before you get your first check from the client, it's not gonna work. I'll be out of business. So
Yep.
the only way I would do a union project like the one I'm on now, the MTA project, is through a union electrician who
Yep.
needs a certified minority vendor to work on a project. That's how I
Okay.
get my projects.
Okay. So, looking at kind of the whole scope of work, where do you feel that time gets kind of sucked the most? Whether, admin, follow-up, fire department inspections, things like that.
I would say admin because I only have a project manager and I have a salesman and I have a technician. So I'm still doing all of the admin. Maybe I just submitted 12 invoices. Somebody else could be doing that. So
Yep.
and invoices I need to submit every month, I'm usually doing that. The checks that come in, I'm usually depositing them. So yeah, I'm still doing a lot of the administration part of it. So until I could bring somebody in to
Yeah.
handle that, then yeah. But not saying a good thing, but being that my time is freed up as much as it is, I guess that is my job, being an admin.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
because it gets done very well. So
Yeah. It's just the next stage in the progression before you
yeah,
get someone else doing
yeah.
that. But I think we touched on this one a little bit before, but how do you currently manage the peaks and valleys of demand?
Okay, so that's a very good question, right? Because in a business, what I came to the realization a couple of days ago, in the business, we're really using Claude to help me with my business finances. I'm seeing that in a business, everything has to move as a business. So if you get money, whatever the denomination of that money, from a penny to the end of that denomination, you need to know what's happening with each and every part of that dollar.
Hmm.
You don't want to get your check and say, okay, I gotta go buy equipment and pay these guys and things like that. No, it has to be everything has to be allocated. So if something can't get done, something just can't get done. But you have to
Hmm.
stick within a I don't want to call it a budget, but you have to have a framework for everything. So building that out and making sure everything run on its own
Hmm.
is where we're trying to go to now.
How have you been able to use, you mentioned using Claude, but like how has that played in? What does that process look like?
So I use Claude Cowork and also the web version. So on the desktop, I'm using it to organize my files, proposals. It's tightening up all my proposals. It's tightening up. I wrote this book. It tightened up this book before I
Okay.
packaged it up and sent it out. Tightens up all of my presentations, scripts, social
Hmm.
media content, and on a daily basis, I have it searching for leads for fire alarm leads in the counties I selected, burglar alarm leads, camera leads, intercom leads, all
Oh,
separate, creating Notion, creating databases in Notion, so that way it alerts the salesman and project manager, and they just call all day.
wow. That's incredible. So, um, I guess we kind of touched on the next question on that too, but the systems you have in place to keep steady streams coming in, is it mostly kind of that Claude lead scraping, or what other systems you have in place?
Okay. Okay, so I have a website and I have a funnels. I have websites. I have a website, my main website, securesecurities.com, and then I have my funnels is where I'm doing the digital products, the Fire Alarm Business Blueprint, the
Yep.
books, the NICET courses, and things like that. So what I use is GrowthWorks runs my funnel. And how GrowthWorks work is if you have no idea how to do anything in marketing, it's like it has AI into it. You tell it I want to start a business doing fire alarm. Okay, it'll spit out the course for you. It'll spit out the marketing for you. It'll spit out the social media content. It'll spit out your VSLs. It'll spit
Mm,
out everything you need to do with marketing. It'll spit it out. Your job is to record everything, right?
mm,
Or let AI record everything so you can have it played out. You have your high ticket course. You have your content engine course, and then you have your low ticket course, all built out. So that's what I'm using for the digital side. Then I have Zoho, which connects to my website, which is similar to GrowthWorks, but I'm only using it for just the email automations for the forms that I have on my website, and
mm,
also the automations for GrowthWorks. That's a total beast, and
mm.
how I do that. And then in between that is Zapier, Claude,
Yep.
and some other little tools that I use, like Gamma for presentations.
Yep.
um, it's a lot that I go off the top. I can't think of I can't think of them all off the top. But then I had created some GPTs. Like
Mm,
one of the to go back to a pain point is a lot of fire alarm companies, I want to say all, have an issue with pricing out test and inspections, right? Let's say I go to a building, 10-story building, and it has, over 1,000 devices. Now, usually they just throw a number to that. No, I created an actual inspection calculator to where you could
mm.
put how many is internal though, how many pull stations, how many horn strobes, how many relays, how many of everything in the system, how high are the ceilings because the difficulty level will increase the rate, and
Yep.
then you put your rate, and then is it one guy or two guy? Boom, that's your price. That's you give to the print it out, get your little proposal, and you can send that straight off.
Mm.
It's not live for the public. I will eventually, but it's really just internal. I just want to use it for
Yeah.
my guys so we could just put out bids quicker.
I love it. What kind of prompted that shift, or maybe not a shift, but kind of that split to also be in the digital product space, and kind of designing a lot of that, and I guess more
I'm
less technician work, I guess.
gonna tell you, it's social media,
Mm,
YouTube, watching Alex Hormozy,
yep.
watching Russell Brunson, watching all of these guys, and I'm like, okay, to get to X, you have to have something that people want. Like Myron Golden said, you have to have something that people want. So I'm thinking, what could I sell? What could I do that people would actually want? And
Mm,
I struggled with that for a minute, but then it hit me. I said, wait a minute. I run a fire alarm company. How can I pull out what I did up until now and put it into a course?
mm,
So that's what I started doing. And as I started teaching that, more people started asking about technical fire alarm questions. So they needed help. I see they needed help with fire alarm questions. Oh, in programming. Okay, so I'll start helping you out in those aspects and then getting certified. So I figured I'm trying to create this vertical business, teaching, getting techs from not knowing anything, getting them certified, keeping their certification, all the way up to getting licensed to starting their own business.
mm. Does that course apply just to New York or across the country?
The license applies to just to New York, but
Okay.
it's going to teach you about money if you have good credit, bad credit, how to get business credit, vendor credits, marketing, certification, proposals. If you don't have a business, it's going to show you how to form it, and then the license part of it as well. So it's teaching, and also the marketing, and then personal branding.
Mm,
So in addition to marketing, I'm going to show you how to create content on social media so that way you can build your personal brand and, don't have to put so much money in ads or put a bunch of money in ads just to exponentially grow yourself. But, removing that fear from people is what I'm trying to do.
That's awesome. How many people have you seen go through the course and what kind of success stories have you seen?
As far as the blueprint, I'm halfway done with the blueprint, so no one has actually gone through the course as of yet. Still a lot of free information I'm giving out, but what they are actually signing up for is they buying a lot of the NICET test, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and they're joining the school community because the school community is all where I'm going to be teaching all about the codes, all
Yep.
about fire alarm only. So they're in that segment now. So I kind of don't think I'm actually talking to the people who's ready for the blueprint. I think I'm still talking to people who's just trying to get their skills up.
Yeah, absolutely. So, kind of turning attention back to the trade side of the business. When a lead calls but doesn't like sign with you guys immediately, what's the process you guys use to follow up and convert that prospect, and how much is automated right now?
So when the lead calls, we have Ring Central. Ring Central is interconnected with our Zoho and also our GrowthWorks. So if the user has a name, like I'm calling Anthony Richardson, it'll extract that information. So once my salesman or the project manager, whomever, finish speaking with the client and they do not, take if they don't buy anything, they want to come back another time. We make sure they get the information, at least an email, but
Mm,
automatically they go inside of the campaign depending on what their call is. So if they're calling to find out about camera systems, they will go into an automation. That first email is just going to give them some free, more information, or probably talk about another company that whatever they're not doing that we are doing.
yep.
And then from there,
Awesome.
they, hopefully, after a few emails, we get a phone call back. But usually after that, inside of either, well, particularly GrowthWorks, they're moving to the next stage and probably calling back in a couple of weeks after that, so we don't harass anybody. But, we get permission, we can call them back a couple of weeks later.
Yeah, absolutely. What have you found is for this particular industry? What's the sales cycle typically on leads like that?
On when it comes, all right, so as a fire alarm company, we're not getting leads to do fire alarm installations. We're selling burglar alarm systems. We're trying to get into your homes or we're trying to sell camera systems. So on the fire alarm aspect of it, that's usually going through municipalities, putting out bids through GCs or having relationships with electricians or just getting email from a government client that they put a new bid out. But actually finding, putting out leads to get fire alarm, no, it's not working like that for me. But for the most part, what works is getting into someone's home so we can change out the burglar alarm system.
Hmm. Yep. So, when a building owner or general contractor or homeowner is choosing between you and one of the larger national companies, what would you say is the most important factor that makes them go with you?
I think what I do on social media, because
Hmm.
a lot of people go to social media, you probably won't see any of those other companies putting out the type of content I'm putting out.
Hmm.
My content touch more close to home. I'm not really selling anything. I'm more
Yeah.
educating. You're already gonna buy because you think I'm giving you too much from the start.
Hmm.
So
I love it. Do you think the content is that biggest factor just because it increases visibility, or do you think there's something with like the value you're adding to the information you're sharing that makes them more confident in?
it's a combination of both because yes, I'm putting out the content to show my expertise. I'm stepping into a realm that actually nobody's ever stepped into, especially on social media. So I want to say that I'm probably like going to be the first in this particular segment. So yes, initially I want to open up, bring awareness to a market that don't have awareness to, and then yes, teach the people who was like me, because there was nobody there for me to come up. Because a lot of comments that I get, oh man, I learned how to do this from you. Oh, I learned so much from you. Oh, I just passed my test. And I'll be like, wow. Sometimes I think I'm not even really giving the best type of information, but it's just how I do the thing. So
Hmm.
the individual is always going to have self-doubt.
Hmm. Yeah. So beyond revenue, what would you say is the most important metric that you track to know if the business is healthy?
I put it to you like this, right? There's no business metric that I track. I get up at 3 o'clock every day and I'm probably sleep 8 or 9 o'clock. If I'm tired at any given moment, that's my track. I don't be tired. I
Hmm.
keep going. I keep going. And this has been 2017, what year are we in? It's been a long time. 8, 9 years. It's been a long time, and I have not been tired. So if once I start slowing down or burn out, whatever they call it, then I think I'm doing something wrong
Hmm. So you're mostly looking at like your energy levels and seeing,
in the health.
hmm. Hmm. I guess that's something that a lot of people, especially in the trades, don't really think about. Like, I think I was talking, I don't know if the episode's out yet. I was talking to another guy, and he mentioned how in the trades there tends to be kind of a pushing to the side of keeping your body healthy. Um, but has health been something that you've always been maintaining, or is it something where there was a
No,
turning point?
a turning point. No, this is not something that because I wasn't taught certain things growing up, or haven't seen certain things growing up, haven't seen how to eat or live growing up. So yeah, a lot of this stuff is brand new and it's challenging at times, but yeah, it's a journey. So I'm just trying to figure it all out as I go.
It's awesome. As a leader in the business, where are you currently investing the most time, money, or resource to improve the overall health of the business?
Oh, that'll definitely be within myself.
Hmm.
I take a lot of courses, right? Because I still have to pull, I'm still a technician by heart, by trade. Even though I'm running a business and my business is profitable, I'm still, there are still areas I don't know within a business. There are still things I don't know how to do within a business that I'm still trying to learn. So
Hmm.
I invest in, the courses that are out there, whatever I can put my money into that's going to get me to the next step that I could train my techs or the project manager and salesman, pass that down. That's what I do. So the
Hmm.
more I could take in, the more I could actually give out.
Hmm. What would you say? This is kind of a nugget for the audience, but what would you say would be like a first course you'd recommend for someone who's kind of looking to build themselves up into a business owner?
Course, it'd be the Fire Alarm Business Blueprint.
Of course.
There's nothing else out there that's gonna. There's a bunch of business courses out there, but there's not gonna be a course to show you how to run a specific trade
Hmm.
business. So and there's not one out there. So to the caveat or how you anyone would do this, right? If anyone is coming in to do a fire alarm business, I would just go, I would not look for installs. If installs come, installs come. I would look for test and inspections, service, because if you're a service guy, you should be able to fix 5, 6 systems a day, and then look for monitoring. Those three things right there will someone can do by themselves.
Hmm.
Someone could do a 2 or 3 man company run, or you don't have to do any installs. Just those three things right there, you can make a lot of money.
Hmm. Perfect. So, if you can wave a metaphorical magic wand and instantly solve one of your operational or marketing challenges, what would it be, and what do you think that challenge is currently costing you?
It would, that is a good question. It would be to, of course, I want to wave the magic wand to have a whole bunch of cash, but no, that wouldn't be it. But it would be to hire more people, right? I just need 3 more people. I mean, when I say hire people, of course, you got to have the money for these people. So I would have to have the cushion and I need the 3 people that'll take us to the next. That'll take us to actually probably double digits if I
Hmm.
could get 3 more people. But yeah, that would take us to the next level of this fire alarm company.
Hmm.
There's one thing
What's
I
it?
not to go there to cut you off or anything. I'm sorry,
No
but
problem.
one thing I do notice on LinkedIn, I still uh what you call it on LinkedIn, follow or friends. I don't even know what you call it on LinkedIn. It's a different world over there.
Yeah.
I still I'm still connected with a lot of the companies I used to work for. So I see a lot of the owners checking out what I'm doing, checking my page because I have the premium account so you can see who's looking at you. And I just take that as a, thank you. Thank you. I worked for a lot of good people. I didn't have any bad relationships with anyone. And when I did leave, he was really good about it. He was just like, that's not my market, because it was a little $25,000 job. It was way too small. Way too small for him. But he was like, yeah, you're not in my market. Good luck. Go have fun. So I never had any issues with anyone, but I just see a lot of people watching what I'm doing.
That's awesome. So like we kind of mentioned, you also run a podcast, and then you're developing this blueprint course for people. Like actively putting an emphasis on teaching other techs how to start their own companies, how to be good at what they do. What made that a priority for you?
I noticed, I'll put it to you like this. What I know, I don't want to keep what I know in my brain. And I know that educators, because everything is monetary, right? So even though I have a passion to want to teach and help people, I also have a passion to make money and take care of my kids. So the one to many I could get to, the more people I could get to, the more it will make my life better, which in turn make their life better. Because if I could get you to the next level, that means you probably just gonna get $5 more from that company, or you may have the courage to go to another company to get your $5. So
Hmm.
it's a win-win for all of us.
Hmm. What would you say is something that most people don't realize about what it takes to go from tech to business owner in this industry?
Learning business. So in business, you first have to learn a lot. So everything in business is a business, right? So you have to first learn how to set it up. Then once you learn how to set it up, you got to learn how to manage it. Once you learn how to manage it, you got to learn how to get leads or business. Then you got to learn how to market. Then you got to learn, you have to get some accountants. So everything in the business is going to take time for you to learn. You are not going to learn all of these things in 1 to 5 years. It's been almost 10 years and I'm still trying to put pieces together.
Hmm.
And as I put the piece together, I learn something new.
Hmm. Yeah. So now that you've spent a number of years in the field and have a high level understanding of how everything in the business and really the industry operates, what changes or shifts do you see coming in the fire alarm and life safety industry that people need to be paying attention to?
I'm going to tell you this, I'm going to change the way the industry is.
Hmm.
A lot of these companies need to train their techs a lot more. They need to give them more of an incentive when it comes to actually training. They need to help them get NICE certified. A lot of times you have to pay out your pocket. Not saying that you shouldn't invest in yourself, but I think if a company is it's the company's responsibility to make the technician better. So
Hmm.
whatever the company has to do, it should be invested in that technician, not just sending them to the manufacturer training, but whatever it is that tech want to do within this field, the company should be behind them. So
Hmm.
what I'm going to do is change that aspect because I'm going to teach everyone, and then that's the same model that I'm going to live by within my business. Not trying to, just say we got all the money to do all of these things, but I think pushing out as much money as you can to help the next person coming up, you're only going to get it back 10 times. So
Hmm.
I like to invest in other people, make sure, especially the ones that want to do it.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. I think that's an approach. I keep saying it on these podcasts, but that I see across a lot of the businesses I'm talking to who are really successful and really good at what they do. There's
Hmm.
always an emphasis, and in some cases, it's even more on the employees and the employees' success,
Yep.
but also on customers. It's always about people,
Yep.
um,
Absolutely.
and I love hearing that from business owners.
Absolutely. If your internal people are no good, they're gonna treat your external people a little bit worse.
Hmm.
So if they're happy, they're gonna go to the site happy. They're gonna be
Hmm.
letting off, releasing very good, beautiful energy. The people around are gonna feel that, and then they're gonna call, "Hey, I love when Carlos come over here. He is such a good guy. He didn't fix nothing though, but he is such a good guy." You get those type of clients.
Yeah. So, what does success look like to you today, compared to like 10 years ago? And then looking ahead into the next year or two, what does a successful business look like to you?
Still acquiring freedom, more freedom. From 10 years ago, I was hustling, running. I wasn't this calm 10 years ago. So now I'm a lot calmer and I'm
Mm,
just trying to get a little bit more freedom so I don't have to even come to the office anymore or
mm,
as much as I would like to, I would say
yeah.
that. But it's just the freedom. It's just the freedom.
Mm. So, coming into the last question I have for you today, what is one piece of advice you would give to someone who is where you were at 18 or 19 years old?
The young ones, right? All right. So, I'm not sure what anybody's religion is, beliefs, spiritual aspect is in life. But what I wish I had someone tell me when I was coming up was, I need you to focus on yourself, right? When I say focus on yourself, I'm talking about do a little exercising. You don't have to get all super jacked, but make sure you do something that's going to build you a little bit of discipline. Um, Upgrade your level of discernment. Learn how to deal with people and not engage with people who, you know what I mean, the energy don't feel or flow right back and forth. You have to learn how to wean those people out. So if you could get your health up, get your mind right, learn how to only, which is difficult, learn how to only keep good people around you.
Mm,
And then once you do that, you become an attraction magnet because you don't chase anything, things come to you. So
mm,
you have to learn how to attract things rather than go and get things, right?
mm,
What I mean by attraction, you set things up, you set a system up for a person to come into an automation to later buy something. So you set up the attraction in order for somebody to give you something later.
mm. You touched on something that I think is something that is really hard in the moment. What would you say is the key, or I don't know if key is the right word, but to keeping the right people around you or to setting friend groups, even for, seasons of life?
Okay, so that's not complicated at all, right? A lot of times, most people, we assume that everyone is just like the individual that we're walking in, right? So you have to not ignore when someone make you feel some kind of way. You can't ignore that. You feel it, whatever you feel, whatever went through your body, your mind, it was real.
Mm,
Don't ignore it. That's what I'm saying. The more you ignore it, the more you will have these feelings because it's going to keep happening. You have to cut it off as soon as it happens. That's
mm,
how you find good people. Because if they don't do that, that's a good person. If there are people that's shifting you on the inside, they may not be good energy to be around. So you have to
mm.
figure that out.
I love it. Thank you for that, for all your time today. For the people interested, whether in New York or people across the country looking to connect with you, where to find you?
I'm everywhere on social media at the Fire Alarm Expert, or you can catch me at Secure It Securities on Facebook. But everywhere you can catch me, I'm the Fire Alarm Expert.
Perfect. And for those of you watching, I'll link all those in the description below if you want to go and find Anthony. Otherwise, Anthony, thank you for being on with us today. Really
Appreciate you,
appreciate your
Andrew.
time.
Thank you so
Um,
much.
for all of you watching, I will see you on the next one.